Okay, everyone, Jay Calinad here. Relics of Hyrule is 6 years old, and I figured what better way to celebrate than telling you some things you may not have known about Relics of Hyrule. So, you may have known that Relics of Hyrule was composed of standalone Zelda mods that I made back in 2012 2013, and integrated into one unit, one mod. And then from there, I expanded it. There was one mod, however, I integrated from my work that was not a Zelda mod, and that was the Light Bone Mold Armor mod. I repurposed that for the Stalfos Bone Mold, and that was one of the only non-Zelda mods that I made that got integrated. Something else that you may not have known is that the Reach Secret Grotto is vaguely train-shaped. If you zoom out, and it's hard to see this in-game because of all the fog, but if you zoom out, then you can actually see that the front is shaped like a cow catcher with a smokestack, and then there's the body of the train, and then the rest of it is sort of like the coal car for the train. It's very fitting that the Reach Secret Grotto is very train-shaped, but I'm not going to spoil why. Something else, speaking of dungeons shaped like other things, Itnamzand Deep is shaped like a dungeon from Zelda 1, namely the Eagle Dungeon. It's reversed because Itnamzand Deep is upside down, but that was my little nod to Zelda 1. Something else to mention, Death Mountain is in Kakariko Village, but the problem is Skyrim doesn't render it properly. It's there. It's kind of hard to get it even in Creation Kit to be visible, but it is there. There is ash coming out. I might do something with that in the future, try to make it more visible, but we will see. Something else that's really cool, this is really cool to me, there's a few characters in Relics of Hyrule that are actually exported from characters that I made for my own playthroughs. So Valentine, if you watched some of the trailers for Relics of Hyrule, that is Valentine, and she's my original character. And at some point, I decided to make her a follower, exported her face, and imported it into Creation Kit to make a follower. Same goes for Ignatia. She was another one of my characters, and Althea, who you can find somewhere in Whiterun Hold. Once again, no spoilers. She was part of a series that I did with a former significant other, called Althea's Adventure. Not my significant other. The series was named Althea's Adventure. That would be a strange name for. Hi, this is my partner, Althea's Adventure. Anyway, so Althea was the main character that we made, and then I exported her face, put it into Skyrim, put it into Relics of Hyrule, and she is found exactly where she was left at the end of Althea's Adventure, more or less where she was left. Something else, Ignatia, Valentine, Zulema, one of the authors of the books Erigis Eurydice, Dlectrin, Yolanda, Pandora, Nicolete are all named after characters that were designed for a series of books that I was writing, a series of science fiction novellas. Valentine was a detective, Ignatia was like a pyrokinetic person, Zulema, I forget what she was. Erigis was a vampire. Dlectrin was actually an android. Yolanda was an android. Pandora was somebody who could like stop time, and Nicolete had a cybernetic leg. It was an interesting science fiction story. Nicolete is an orc because I decided to choose orc because in my story she had green skin. And Valentine is her design is based on the fact that Valentine in my books had marble-like skin. Her skin was like marble, so she had white skin with black highlights on it. And Ignatia, in my story, she had red skin and red hair, and she was like a pyrokinetic person, but I changed that to fair skin and red hair. Ignatia's hair color was originally customized, but I settled on a standard color. I think Ignatia is my favorite design of any of the followers. Valentine's probably on par with Ignatia. Ignatia is my favorite human follower. Valentine's my favorite beast follower. Anyway, something else. Rupees were not planned. I was not intending to add rupees at all. I had no intention to add them, but when version 6.0 came around and I was adding Majora's Mask Unbound and Majora's Wrath, which one of the things that Majora's Wrath can do is change enemies into rupees. So I realized, now hold up, it wouldn't make sense for Majora's Wrath to change people to coins or things like that. So I need to add something. I need to add rupees. So I added rupees because of Majora's Mask Unbound. In Kino Langdonzell, you may notice that you can pick up weird staffs sometimes from Hylian ghosts. Those were added with Kino Langdonzell. So Hylian ghosts sometimes carry special staffs. The reason I made it so that an illusion staff can fire destruction spells is because I didn't want to use the standard destruction staff, which is a dragon, because I felt that didn't really fit Zelda. So I shuffled them around, and there's a few different variants of the staffs that fire spells that they wouldn't normally do. I was also considering making a mod that allowed you to enchant any staff with any spell in Dragonborn with the staff enchanter, but that proved to be way too difficult, so I didn't bother. Moving on, Mad God Passage uses a bit of an unused dungeon that was left out in the cold during development of Skyrim. The cell BPW Void was actually the basis of the entrance to Mad God Passage, and you can see the similarities. I basically extended and finished that unfinished dungeon for Mad God Passage, and it's very fitting because BPW Void is connected to a secret door in the Mind of a Madman, the part of the Sher-Gorath Daedric quest. And Mad God Passage is dedicated to Sher-Gorath, so it's very fitting. Here's something else that you may not have noted. Hats were almost phased out. So I added hats. They've been in the mod since the beginning. Added them as part of a standalone mod, but if anything in Relics of Hyrule gets more criticism than anything else, but hats get the most criticism out of anything in Relics of Hyrule. I still get so many comments from people saying that the hats are ugly, the hats make me unbald, the hats this, hats that, clip through my hats, they look terrible, they smell bad, and even though I've added countless, options, I was getting sick of the feedback and criticism, and I was going to get rid of them. I was going to remove them entirely, replace them with hoods. There was a day that I decided to do it, that I decided they're gone, I'm going to phase them out. But they're still in the mod, and I don't know if they're going anywhere, but there's so many other options. I may be adding hoods, but at this point, I don't care. And here's another thing you may not have known about Relics of Hyrule. Don't talk to me about the hats! Okay, moving on. The Deku Shield actually counts as hero gear. So if you wear the Ring of Kokiri and you have the Deku Shield equipped, the Ring of Kokiri will get stronger. There's a few different effects that the Ring of Kokiri can do. In fact, all the enchanted rings, can activate with certain armor types and with certain spells, with certain songs, certain ocarina songs. And the hero's gear activates the Ring of Kokiri, but the Deku Shield counts, so it will activate the Ring of Kokiri. There's a few things that were cut from the mod. I won't get into all the details of what were cut, but two things were Dinophos and Moblins. They were in the mod, but they were removed, and you can still see clips of them in different trailers. But I removed them because they were kind of clunky and didn't look good. I didn't like how, especially the Dinophos looked awful. So I removed them, replaced the Dinophos with Black Wolfos, and just renamed the Dinophos fangs and claws to Black Wolfos items. And then Moblins were replaced with a stronger Bokoblin. I am planning to add Dinophos back and Moblins back eventually. We'll see. Here's something else that you may not have known. You can get a Master Sword recipe from the Hall of the Vigilant, namely a purification recipe, if I remember correctly. There's always one at the Hall of the Vigilant. Even if you visit when it's still intact before level 10, before Dawnguard kicks in, you can get one. It's in the basement. After the hall is ruined, it's in the fireplace. So the recipe is always there. Finally, one final thing that you may not have known. There are a lot of anagrams in Relics of Hyrule. I'm not going to go through all of them, but Kina Langdonzel, Morwidajal, Itnamzand, Vetrianav, Kamdelamar, Alnasan. There's a few authors of lore books that are also anagrams. There's a few corrupted anagrams as well, like Malrun Igochroma, which is one of the authors, is a corrupted anagram. And I will leave it to you to try to figure out what those anagrams are. Most of them are Zelda-related. I will tell you that Alnasan is not a Zelda-related anagram. It's an anagram of something else. So, thank you for watching this video of things you may not have known about Relics of Hyrule. If you're not playing the mod, I hope you check it out. If you are playing the mod, thank you, and I hope you enjoy it. And, yeah, the mod's 6 years old now. I can't believe it. I can't believe that it is the most downloaded, most endorsed Zelda mod on the Skyrim Nexus. That is wild. So, thank you for your support, and, good day.